Good evening. Now call to order the Town of Los Gatos Planning Commission meeting of February 25th, 2026. And I will now call the roll. Commissioners, please state here when your name is called. Commissioner is absent. Commissioner Burnett? Here. Commissioner Thomas?
Here.
Vice Chair Barnett?
Here.
Commissioner Sordy?
Here.
Commissioner Stump?
Here.
Please note that Commissioner Mayer is absent, and I am here as well. Please stand if you're able and join Commissioner Thomas as she leads us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As the Planning Commission conducts the meeting this evening, we encourage active participation by the public, which is essential to democracy and to the important work of the Planning Commission. Public input is very much welcomed and always considered. The public can participate in several ways. Prior to a meeting, written comments about agenda items may be submitted to staff. And during the meeting, there are two opportunities for members of the public to participate. First, during the verbal communications period, an individual may speak on any topic that is not on the agenda. And second, during the public hearing portion of tonight's meeting, any member of the public may speak about an agenda item. You will be advised of the times when you come up to speak. If you do wish to address the Commission tonight during the verbal communication portion or public hearing agenda items, you can either raise your hand on Zoom, or if you're here in person, fill out a card and hand it off to staff. Please print your name, maybe phonetically if it's difficult, or if you're speaking anonymously, you don't have to. When you're called to speak, please come up to the podium and speak directly into the microphone as this meeting is being recorded. State your name for the record and indicate that you're speaking anonymously, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. We will now begin with the verbal communications portion of the meeting, during which members of the public are invited to address the Commission on any issue that is not on the agenda. Staff will announce when your 3-minute time is up, and I have one card for the Brown Act.
Okay, and anonymous, as you can see, Brown Act, you guys know that. It's something that started it started earlier than when you saw it. But I'm speaking on what I sent in some comments today, and I got a return. It says comments that are not related to an item listed on Planning Commission meetings agenda are not included in the agenda package material, and written submissions are not accepted in lieu of verbal communication. So I have to come in. I don't know if you've got this. I'll turn this in. But I sent in our email to you guys, and it's supposed to go directly to you. And I've tried doing this to DEI. DEI doesn't have their direct thing. And what I'm bringing up is this happened I went to DEI meeting, and this came in right before the DEI meeting. It's about the ICE and Town of Los Gatos response to the protected town residents for immigration operations. And I've been, talking about, Project 2025 and all this is coming up to thing. And I've been saying, number 2 says planning and response. I'm just, hey, you guys are the planning department. I brought this up a lot of times. Can you tell the town where you're standing? Can you hold an agenda? Things. I don't think it has to go to town council as much as it has to. You guys have to hold it and give the public 10 days, because I've been saying 10 days. Put it in the newspaper. Nobody. I'm the only person here. Well, I got one more person. But a coordinated response. I highlighted just a couple lines for federal troops and National Guards. It's just not, because martial law is probably to be called and stuff like that. You can sort of look down the future if things go sideways, which they will on certain things. And, your privacy signs, who do we get that from? It's in here. And this is something, I don't know if you've got this yet, but I hope you have. And then it says the police department. And right now, people don't trust the police department. With with what's going on, even with the codes, they want our video feeds and calling them, and then we have to pay them $195 if we make two false, hey, we thought we saw ice or something going on. So I think that it would be nice to have some sort of thing, I'm not a public speaker, so some sort of, get together, because there's not too many people here, and only like 15 people so far spoke on ICE over two sessions. I'm just letting you know I record all this stuff and trying to, I want truth out. Okay, thank you. I'll turn this in over here.
Are there any questions for the speaker? No? Mr. Paulson, is there anybody on? Oh, you do? Oh. Is there anyone on Zoom?
There are no hands raised on Zoom.
All right. We'll move on now to the consent calendar. Tonight we have two items on the consent calendar: the approval of the draft minutes of the January 14th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting, and approval of the draft minutes of the January 28th Planning Commission meeting. Before the Planning Commission acts on the consent calendar, any members of the commission or the public may request this item be removed. Are there any such requests, comments? All right, seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the consent? Commissioner
So
Shaw?
moved.
Second? Oh, Commissioner Sorty, I think you had your hand up, but. All right. I don't know which one of you said. I said he made the motion. You're the second. Okay. All right. We'll call the question. All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously with one absent. All right. We'll now move on to. This is because you moved the podium and swapped seats. I just need you to know that. We will now move on to the public hearings, starting with item number 3. Consider a request for approval of site improvements requiring a grading permit and conditional use permit for a vineyard greater than 3,000 square feet on property zoned HR 2.5, located at 16135 Cerro Vista Drive, APN number 537-30-018, architecture and site application number S-25-036, and conditional use permit application number U-25-006. Exempt pursuant to the CEQA section 15303A, new construction or conversion of small structures, and section 15304, minor alterations to land. Property owner is Ruben Caballero. I'm going to probably say that wrong, sorry. Applicant is Gary Kolstadt, and the project planner is Suri Nathan. Before the staff report, can I have a show of hands of commissioners that have I'm kind of with you. Are there any disclosures? All right. Mr. Nathan, you'll be giving us a staff report tonight.
I will. Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. Before you is an architectural site and a conditional use permit application located at 16135 Cerro Vista Drive, and it is zoned HR 2.5. On January 28th of this year, the Planning Commission continued the item for today's hearing to obtain further clarification regarding the applicant's request to create a crawl space under the proposed outdoor kitchen and a stairway on the east side for access. The crawl space on the stairway will create an additional 231 cubic yard of grading, and the proposed project meets the technical requirement for the town code for floor area, building coverage, parking, and height. And the Planning Commission is considering the project for a conditional use permit for a vineyard greater than 3,000 square feet, a fence height exception for an 8-foot tall deer fencing, and exception to the hillside development standard and guidelines for a portion of the finished floor height that exceeds 3 feet above the existing grade, and for a depth of cut of 7 feet 10 inches for the creation of the crawl space and the stairway below the proposed outdoor kitchen. And this concludes staff's presentation, and the staff will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Nathan. Are there any questions for staff? No? All right. We will now open the public portion of the public hearing on item number 3 and give the applicant opportunity to address the commission for up to 5 minutes. I have a card from Mr. Joel Laytons.
Lemons.
Lemons, sorry.
Just like the fruit, but a bunch of them.
I told you, like you almost have to like phonetically do that for me.
I apologize, Gary Kolstadt, couldn't be here today because he fell ill today. So he went home early, and I'm filling in. So I think the biggest portion of this is talking about you've been to the site and you've seen the plans, the exception for the patio that sticks out because we have a floor level that's goes from the ADU to the patio to the outdoor kitchen, and it sticks out of the ground a little bit more than we're supposed to. And then the underneath area, the additional grading of 231, I think it was, for the space underneath for storage, for putting pool supplies and that type of thing. It's not usable space because it's under the limit for habitable space. So, and then the stairway going down to access that. So that's kind of what we're talking about here. It does require a deeper cut, but it'll still only have a 6'7" headroom inside, and it's more for mechanical and storage.
All right. Are there any questions for the speaker? No? All right, you can sit. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Commissioner Sorty.
I'm just curious. So we have a little bit of addition in the amount of cut, and I was just curious to know if the amount cut is going to be trucked off the site or is it going to be distributed on the site?
Oh, we'll probably distribute on the site because we have fill areas that we need to put. So it'll probably be distributed. I don't know if it'll need to be exported. I think we can probably use it on site.
Okay. I was just curious.
I don't.
Thanks.
I would have to check with whoever's going to be doing it. So.
Okay.
Thank you. You can have a seat, and
All right.
we'll let someone else speak, and then if there's questions, you can come back up. I have one other card for Captain Seuss.
Okay, I have a little bit of information. I did build on the side of a hill, 2 acres in a little over 2 acres in Cupertino, and we did cut into the hill. I was a general contractor, built my own house, and you know, I came before the Cupertino town thing, and one of the things was the grass was 1,500 square feet, and I was going, what the heck? But what I was just to say, why 3,000 is not that much. So, but I would say something on the grade cut when, as a builder and as somebody that knows a little bit of the architect, if they're distributing the ground, if it's over a foot, you should have it tampered, water it down. And it's supposed to be engineered, and I had to hire a civil engineer and have it things, but this sounds like a small cut. Just tell them, hey, because you work with neighbors, and I've been up to the property just to look at it, and you can't see it, it's at the top of the hill. I was just like, well, I can't afford the thing because I don't drink wine, but if you can give me a little bit, and if it's in a cork, I can use it as a aftershave and, that type of thing. So good luck with that. Okay, thanks.
All right, are there any questions for the speaker? All right, seeing none. Typically, this is when the applicant come up, have any closing statements. All right, do we have any further questions for the applicant? I think I forgot to ask if there was anyone on Zoom. I'm sorry.
There's no hands raised.
Okay, good. All right. We will now close the public portion of the public hearing on item number 3, and I invite commissioners to ask questions of staff, provide comments, or propose a motion. Vice Chair Barnett.
Seems like we could move right to a motion. So with respect to the issues in item 3 of tonight's agenda, I move to approve the request for site improvements requiring a grading permit and the conditional use permit for the vineyard. I can make all of the findings in Exhibit 12 and the considerations as well. And my motion further approves the amended improvement plans shown on Exhibit 15 in today's packet. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there a second? Commissioner Stump? All right. Is there any discussion before I call the question? All right, then I'll call the question. Oh, sorry. Please, Commissioner Thomas.
I just would like to confirm that any sort of grading and like redistribution on site, like if it is over a certain amount, there are standards about how that is distributed, just since, I mean, that was brought up by the public.
Yeah, thank you for that question. So any grading would be reviewed by the Parks and Public Works Division. And if there's going to be some of the spoils used on site, then it would have to meet grading standards and engineering standards.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any further comment, questions? All right, then I will call the question. All in favor? All right, that passes unanimously. All right. I believe that closes.
Through the chair, there are
Yeah.
appeal rights.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, are there appeal rights?
So the decision of the commission can be appealed to the town council by any interested person as defined by Town Code Section 29.10.020 within 10 days on forms available online with fees paid. The appeal is due by 1 p.m. on the final day if it's a Friday.
Thank you, Mr. Mullen. All right, then I will close the public portion of the meeting. Oh, well, don't I go to the, I actually printed this out. I will now close the public portion of the meeting. It's your guys' fault. And now I'll ask if there's a report from the Director of Community Development.
Thank you, Chair. I have nothing to report this evening.
Are there any subcommittee reports? Vice Chair Burnett.
The Conceptual Development Advisory Committee met last week concerning a proposal that's being considered for an 8-story memory care and assisted living project that is in the North 40 plan, and the height was a major concern that we talked about, as well as neighborhood compatibility and a secondary access. Those were the main points that we brought up. And so I know they listened to us, but I don't know how much they took it to heart.
Well, we do our best. Was there an HPC meeting tonight?
Yes. Yes, this afternoon at 4, we had our Historic Preservation Committee meeting, and we had several items. One was pulled to return later. The big news is we have a new chair, which is Emily Thomas, and we have a vice chair, Martha Kayraz. And that's all I need to say.
All right. Are there any other matters that the commission would like to address, Commissioner Sorty?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up the issue of the pre-1941 survey and maybe kind of take a poll, formal or informal, of fellow planning commissioners about maybe whether we should agendize it for discussion. One of the issues I brought up at the last hearing was the fact that we had an expert opinion kind of on one side, but we didn't have one on the other. And, you know, I guess it's not my original idea, but having like a town consulting historic expert opinion on some of these or all of these, or, you know, maybe just having a little bit more of an open-ended structured discussion about what we can do to address what seems to be a kind of an ambiguous decision path that we've had on some of these projects. So I'm just throwing that out there as maybe an idea to talk about. Maybe staff has some input about like what some of the thought process is about maybe how we might strengthen that process moving forward.
I can hop in and then Mr. Mullen can add some additional. So the council did look at Historic Preservation Committee work plan late last year. And so there were some items that was not included on it, but the direction from council at that time was to look into it following the completion or conclusion of the objective design standards work. So we can definitely look at putting that on the list when we're looking at other stuff. I would just say if we're going to have a historian that the town is, that's the town's consultant, then that probably would pull away quite a bit of discretion from the HPC on those determinations. So that would, again, be a decision that the council would have to make.
Okay. Yeah, I'm certainly not advocating pulling discretion away from HPC, just having another, another expert opinion or having a process that is a little bit more thorough, I guess. The other thing I was curious to know is if we have any idea at all about how many pre-1941 structures actually exist in the town. Is there like a ballpark figure? If we wanted to take that and break it into chunks and do an analysis piece at a time, maybe, or something like that? I don't know.
I don't have a figure for you at the moment. I know I looked into it a few years ago and mapped them. The problem or challenge would be that we would need to take what's mapped and then remove the ones that have been already removed or demolished. It's not a super heavy lift, but I think to Mr. Paulson's point, once we get to that work plan after the objective design standards have wrapped up, that might be something that already dovetails into some of the work that we've been asked to look at.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Thomas, and then Commissioner Burnett.
I would be in support of having some sort of discussion, and at least just amongst the committee, as now also now the chair of HPC, I guess, just to create some sort of like understanding of how each body works, and then with conjunction and trying to like just, something related to that also. And I know we can't have the discussion tonight, obviously, but I do think that there are possibly some ideas that we could propose that wouldn't be extra money or time for the town that could help everyone out with like making some more clear decisions moving forward, perhaps. So I'm in support of trying to get something agendized, and maybe a joint, I don't know if it also is something that's like more of like a joint thing with HPC, just to kind of, I don't know if that's necessary since two of us are on here already. But yeah, I do think that there's a possibility.
I agree. Commissioner Burnett?
Yes, I think this is a very important issue because the town's trying to save smaller homes for moderate income and young families trying to buy homes. And yet, on the other hand, as I've noticed with the last 4 years that I've been on the committee, the historic committee, more and more people are coming to us wanting to have their homes removed that are usually the smaller homes, and to be taken out and then redesigned to where they become very large and very expensive. So on one hand, we're trying to have more affordable housing, and on the other hand, now we're having this draining of our little resources that we have. So I think we should take some steps, and maybe a step that would be, because I think what happens if a home goes to the Planning Commission to be appealed, if it's denied in the Historic Preservation Committee, it comes now to Planning Commission, and they're usually, I won't make that comment, but now they bring a historian with them. So that somehow takes precedent over what the Historic Preservation Committee has said, or the director. So I think what might be an idea is that we have our own Larry Cannon, if the appeal does come, that he has the ability to evaluate that, so that we have our own historic, a historic person comment. So maybe it'd be like, and then I think it would give us a little more teeth to maybe help save some of these smaller homes and give us good ideas.
Chairperson Birch, so this is sort of turning into a discussion.
I was just going
of the
to
topic,
say this is going beyond
and so if the Planning Commission is interested in discussing it at length, it should be agendized.
I agree. Okay. I agree. So what would, it does appear that there are a number that would like to have this conversation, so I would ask that it be agendized. Oh, do we have to take a vote to agendize something?
I think it would be good just to capture the majority was interested in having it.
Okay. Yeah, it is your fault, so you can make the motion.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to agendize at some future date to be determined by staff to discuss the process of evaluating pre-1941 houses.
All right, and we have a second. Is there any further discussion? Commissioner Thomas?
I just have a friendly amendment, just other than just the pre-1941 houses. I think that actually what would be most helpful is to kind of start with what the work plan that was proposed by HPC, because that didn't come here and then to council. It went to council and then they made some specific decisions about it. So the things that they decided to prioritize, like maybe like having that as a basis of what we can, because we know that's what they're going to prioritize. So I think that starting with that and providing like feedback and looking at it in that sense, from that lens, won't like open Pandora's box and be more aligned with what the ideas already are.
Yeah, I
so
like that.
That's kind of, is that a decent friendly
The
amendment?
maker of the motion, do you
Yeah.
accept that amendment?
I think that's acceptable.
It's on there. It's on there.
Yeah, I mean, and for example, if we wanted to also look at specific structures between like 1941 and 1980 or some year that we might choose that might actually have historic significance in addition to pre-1941, we could do that. So yeah, I'm happy to amend the motion.
And the seconder? All right. Any other discussion? All right, then I will call the question. All in favor? All right, passes unanimously.
And through the chair, just to make sure expectations are set, we've already gone through that exercise with council. So we're not going to be doing any work to bring anything forward. We're just going to bring the topics. You guys
Exactly.
can have a discussion, and we'll add this one to it as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. Thank you. All right, any other commission matters? All right, seeing none, the meeting's adjourned.